Good evening. So tonight we have some big news about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and whether or not they have been nominated for certain awards that have been announced this week, specifically the Emmy Award and the Hollywood Critics Award, which we will be discussing in a minute, along with some amazing royal news that we tend to cover. My name is Deanna, and I'm here from Hot for History. And if you haven't been here before, I like to create these little short videos about quirky things in history. And I also like to talk about the royal family. And we do tend to cover some news about what's going on in the royal family. So I am here in sunny Florida, boiling. Let me know where you're from. Yes. Hello, Lynn. Hello, Lily. Hello, Steve. How are you guys doing? Tell me. I know in Florida it is boiling hot here. It is boiling hot. I had to go out in the morning. And then we do like to at times show your questions as well and your comments. We like to include, all sides of the coin regarding what people are thinking and saying about these. But we're going to cover a few topics first about royal news. Feel free to ask your questions, and we will get to that. We will get to the questions in a minute. Hello, Rahala. Welcome. First things first, I guess the royal family has been sitting in the royal box at Wimbledon. Oh, okay, Rahala, I'm definitely getting to that question. I'll get to it in a second. So in Wimbledon, basically the queen came, right? They have a royal box, and for typically you would honor the royals in the box and bow to them. But about 20 years ago, I think it was Prince Edward, who was the Duke of Kent at the time, he basically got rid of that rule, I guess, because the players were from all over the place and busy, and the royal box was in an awkward spot. So they haven't been bowing or curtsying. And the queen hardly ever went. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles did not go that much either. But Prince William and Kate are there a lot. So they may rekindle that particular rule. But nobody is bowing at this point to the queen, apparently. So that's big news. So Rahala has a question before we go on. I think this is a fascinating question. Welcome from Colorado. We've got some people from Jacksonville. Yes, it's so hot there. Hot. What do I think about this? I don't know, Rahala. I don't know if they would do a royal funeral for her after she left. I think there's some people that follow this that may know a little bit better. I don't think she would have a royal funeral. I don't think that would be the case. I don't know if certain honors are done. I think that Princess Diana, she obviously had the queen bow to her in a kind of a very respectful funeral, but I'm not sure about that. I think that's probably one of the most fascinating questions I've received in a long time. So kudos for that. We'll try to find out the answer to that question. Didn't the queen make a special exception for Diana? Yeah, that's what I was just saying. The queen showed up, but I also think it wasn't really a royal funeral. It was, I don't know. I don't think that was the case. So I'd have to wait and figure it all out. Hi from Detroit. Wait, nomination for what? Okay. The Nobel Prize. We will get there in a second, Indy. We're going to discuss it. It's very interesting, these Emmy Awards, and then it's the Hollywood Critics Award regarding Harry and Meghan's it was a very successful documentary on Netflix. It definitely was. So she'd probably get a Hollywood funeral. Camilla should have a royal funeral. I'm sure Camilla will have a royal funeral. Okay, so we're going to talk about, so basically they're not curtsying. I'm just covering some basic news, and then we'll get to the meat of this because I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about all of this. So apparently Balmoral, if you guys remember, is the place where the queen died, and it's in Scotland, and it's sort of like the family's, country estate. they love to go there. And apparently every single year they keep it open for a certain amount of time to get some revenue so people can walk through it, so tourists can see it. I'm sure they don't see all of the rooms. And then they close it down. And then Andrew will come with his family, with Fergie, with their 2 daughters and grandchildren, right? Well, apparently this particular year, Charles is like, we're keeping it open 2 extra weeks. And so, sorry, Andrew, you're not able to go. So he's probably fuming because he's still not over the fact that they're still trying to get him out of the Royal Lodge, which has been his estate for, a couple of decades. And they want him out of the 30-room mansion that he's inhabiting at Windsor and have him move over to Frogmore. So that is a little bit of royal news. Let me look at what you guys are saying, and then we will get into it. How about Camilla? Camilla, most likely, because she has had the coronation as queen, she would have a royal funeral. I do not think, and probably Kate would as the Princess of Wales. And regarding Meghan, I just don't know because they're not as active, but Kate's going to be the queen. Obviously William would, Harry would too. I think it's a great question, but I'm not quite sure. Probably a Hollywood funeral. I agree. Diana was the mother to a future king. So the queen did make an exception. I feel like this question would be the same as like, okay, would Sophie of Wessex have, a royal funeral? I'm just not sure. Would Princess Anne's husband have one? I don't think that is the case. Love the question. Actually, Diana's wedding was originally supposed to be the Queen Mom's funeral. You mean on the same? I'm not following that. Okay. Actually, she already left. Text green, game over. Okay. Met funeral. Okay. So Lynn, actually Diana's funeral was originally supposed to be the Queen Mom's funeral. I don't understand. Okay. So I think we're getting off on a tangent. We will readdress this because I do think I love, I'm good with kind of rolling with the spontaneous, sidetracks from what we're talking about. And I am intrigued by this. Y'all know they are not going to give the Duchess of Sussex a royal funeral, but I'm sure they would honor her in some way. They would have to. She's married to a prince. Yeah, I would think they would have to do some kind of honoring to Meghan. It just feels so, so crazy to be talking about it because they seem so young. But yeah, it's a great question. Why the guards of the royal family can't laugh? What is the reason for that? I don't know. I think it would be so hard not to laugh with all of the people kind of making their faces at you. Okay, so here's the thing. Everybody is calling Harry a little, well, this was news. Prince Harry's a turd, right? That's what they're saying because he apparently is in talks. We always knew, like when his book came out, that it's possible that he could have some kind of big book deal, right? He could have some kind of big book deal with the book Spare, because he sold 1.5 million copies, which is really a big deal. He sold a lot of copies. It was pretty successful. So the big question is, will he or will he not sell his rights? Some are saying he's already sold them, but here's what the critics are saying. The critics are saying that if you notice the other day, we talked about this, we kind of had, a smaller audience that night, but we did talk about the fact that there's all this news about, like, one day it's like Meghan's going to be in The Bodyguard 2 with Kevin Costner. Now it's like, oh, Harry's going to have this record multi-million-dollar deal with the book Spare. And all of this points to the fact that they're trying to create a buzz to keep them in the Netflix fold. Okay, Netflix apparently has a deal with them for a certain amount of things that they're producing. The last thing we heard after they lost the Spotify deal was that Harry was going to go to Africa and produce something. And then, so they keep rumbling about certain things that Netflix is going to do. Netflix has dropped some deals like Pearl. Their Live to Lead thing basically failed. We still haven't heard about The Heart of Invictus, which is supposed to be a show about the Invictus game, which many of us thinks would be great if they didn't make it all about Harry and Meghan and they would make it about those true life stories. So now people are saying, okay, the critics, they're saying this, even this news that there's some kind of negotiation over Spare doesn't make any sense, because Netflix should have the rights for that since Harry and Meghan are with them, but they're with them for some types of production, television production, but would they get involved in, the deal with some kind of major film? So some are saying that this is just talk and it makes no sense. Okay, so does that make sense to you? In other words, it's just another way for them to get attention and get a buzz, because, oh, maybe Harry and Meghan are going to have this big deal, so Netflix will want to keep them now forever and ever. Hallelujah, right? I don't think they would honor Meghan. Okay, not Prince Andrew taking the hint. Prince Andrew is not Lily Grace. He will not take that hint. They practice. Okay, they practicing for the mom's funeral because of her getting sicker. Oh, girl. Really? Okay, so what Lynn is saying is that when Diana died, the Queen kind of made an exception because it was just so tragic, right? And she was the mother of a future king. So Lynn is saying that the Queen mother was very, very sick. So they were sort of practicing by honoring Diana in the same way to kind of have a walkthrough or whatever for the Queen mother's funeral. Isn't it? Oh. Costner is in a divorce, so no doubt she's filming anything. Oh, right, because I heard about that too. Okay. I hope one day they stop being so evil and selfish and just enjoy their lives with the kids and concentrate on, I do too, on the future. Lynn says the book, to my knowledge, is under a different deal from Netflix. Okay, so it is. It's under a publishing deal. So if it's under a publishing deal, then maybe Netflix wouldn't have the rights. Plus, that would be sort of a made-for-TV movie rather than, a whole like big, Hollywood, big budget film. Personally, here is some more of the criticism. Who's going to watch? Like, is it going to be like, we've all heard the story. I don't know if they can spin it so it would be interesting enough, in my opinion. It's like, what would be so interesting? They've already done some Hollywood, like things, not Hollywood, but like cheap B movies about Meghan and Harry's romance and yada, yada, yada. I just don't think Spare would be something that many people would go to. And then the other things that they're saying, they, meaning the critics, are saying, oh my gosh, many of the sales were hate buys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say I was a hate buyer, but I was a curiosity buyer of the book. I wasn't like, ooh, I'm so excited because I love them so much. I did like Harry at some point, but I bought the book out of curiosity. I really was curious and I needed it because I talk about it all the time. Okay. So the Queen mother died 3 years later. It's interesting. Okay. I wouldn't watch Spare. It was boring. I know. I don't think I would either. So let me read what this is. Okay. So this is so interesting to me. I know to some of you that are just kind of hopping on here or aren't regulars, you're probably like, this is kind of boring. I find it interesting. So let's give some context regarding, let's say they do come out with they said they were going to kind of keep their mouths shut. The royal family is don't complain, don't explain, like just let life kind of go on. But Harry and Meghan don't stop, and all of the material and all of the money they want to make is like just selling down the royal family, right? So typically they wouldn't say anything, but we do know that recent news said that Kate was very involved with coming up with the line recollections may vary that the Queen had sent out regarding the Netflix release. And Kate has been stretching things a little bit, breaking a few rules here and there. I just did a short video on it, like, wearing nail polish, like doing things differently. And I don't think the Queen mother ever had anything, I don't think Queen Elizabeth ever had anything as dramatic as all of this and as intense. So Kate's basically saying, they're saying that Kate's like, we're done. Go ahead. If you start signing some more entertainment deals and you're focusing on us, you better watch out. So this is what it says. And then I'll come to the comments. Meghan warned Kate, ready to fight fire with fire to protect her family. The Princess of Wales isn't afraid to take the gloves off and play dirty if the Sussexes level more allegations against the British royals, an insider has claimed. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have been warned. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is ready to fight fire with fire if they level any more allegations against the royal family, with the source saying the gloves are off. Ooh, okay. The Sussexes, okay, this is not necessarily, okay, I'm just going to say it because I was going to get to this in a second. The Sussexes, who were yesterday nominated for a Hollywood Critics Award for their Netflix documentary, Harry and Meghan, are currently believed to be exploring possibilities for future projects. So in other words, okay, you were nominated for this award. So is this all you're going to do? Like rinse and repeat, keep doing the thing that worked for you? However, the insider suggested they would need to think very carefully before revealing more details about the reasons behind their decision to quit the UK for California in 2020, as they did in the 6-part documentary series. The source said Kate was fiercely protective of her family and not afraid to fight fire with fire, having already broken the golden royal rule of never complain, never explain. Meghan therefore needed to be extremely careful in the future. They continue, not least as has been reported, she follows Harry's lead and pens a memoir from her experience. And then it goes on to say, the insider told Closer magazine, Kate won't hesitate to keep sticking up for the royals as well as herself. She's shown an incredible amount of tolerance and bitten her lip, but even she can only be pushed so far. And this latest revelation is seen as a clear message for Meghan to cut back. So the bottom line here is that Kate isn't afraid to take the gloves off and save her family. So what do you guys think about that? Okay, so I'm going to take Brian's comment. Hi, Brian. It's pure damage limitation and speculation, trying to save their remaining brand name from tanking. Throw rumors out there and hope it triggers an interest from producers. Yeah. So this, and again, I'm kind of translating this. I like to do that. So what we're saying is, we had Bodyguard a couple days ago. A couple weeks ago, it was Dior. After Spotify, it was like Dior, like they're all going to be in a Dior. Now it's like Harry just signed this multi-million-dollar deal with, and they didn't say, with another, to sell the movie rights for Spare. Ironically, all of this comes out right before these nominations. And right during the time when their Netflix deal is very suspect and sensitive. In other words, if they don't produce more things, and I did agree with what Lynn said, that I think it's attached really more to their publishing deal. I don't know if Netflix would have the rights to this, but they may have a clause where they would have to at least give them the right of first refusal. So, basically, they're saying that Brian is saying, and I think what the critics are also saying, is that it is kind of a smoke screen. It's like, let's just make it sound like we are hot crap, like we are hot stuff and everybody wants us. But the reality is that it's not, right? So, okay, and let me take some more questions. Then we're going to read the articles about the Hollywood Critics Award and then the Emmys, because that is fascinating. Let me pull up that article next and we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so Lynn, I think Meghan and Harry could go after Andrew. I think the only reason they haven't is because Eugenia is still talking to them. Yeah, I don't think they're really going to talk much about Andrew. It's so controversial. I don't know. I don't think they would. But you never know with these two. You never know. Why Diana did know that she would die, then why did she not tell the Queen? Yeah, a lot of people say that Diana kind of had a feeling like about her fate. So I've heard that too. I guess the fake car chase thing was such a flop that they were struggling to be relevant. And that's another thing. So that was another example. Of, okay, well, hey, look at us. Everybody in the world is chasing us. Everybody likes us. Look over here. Everybody likes us. I am fascinated about this news here. I think it's kind of fun because, okay, tell me what your favorite show, I'm binge watching because I was so far behind on watching, like I never watched Ted Lasso, but I was a Wrexham fan. Like I was watching the Wrexham thing. So I'm watching Ted Lasso, and all of their actors were basically nominated yesterday for Emmys. But Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were snubbed by the Primetime Emmys, but they did get a Hollywood Critics Award nomination. So let's go into it. Let's talk about it a second. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read 2 articles on this because there's interesting stuff. So this says Prince Harry and Meghan received their first award nomination for their explosive 6-part series that premiered on Netflix on Tuesday. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex earned a nod from the Hollywood Critics Association in the category of Best Streaming Nonfiction Series alongside fellow nominees. Tell me if you saw any of these other docuseries. Renovations, Prehistoric Planet 2, Rainn Wilson and the Geography of Bliss, The Reluctant Traveler with Eugene Levy, and the 1619 Project. I'm voting for the 1619 Project. However, Emmy Award voters snubbed, like everybody, I'm sorry, but everybody in the world was nominated. They really were, like everybody was nominated. However, Emmy Award voters snubbed the royal couple docuseries, which was not among the nominees announced on Wednesdays. Directed by 2-time Oscar-nominated filmmaker Liz Garbus, Harry and Meghan broke documentaries ratings records for Netflix. I thought for sure, for positive, they would not only be nominated, but win, just because, you know, it's Hollywood. Harry and Meghan broke documentary ratings records for Netflix when the series' first 3 episodes were released on December 8th. Royal expert and host of the To Die For daily podcast, Kinsey Schofield, told Fox News Digital that she was not surprised by the docuseries HCA award recognition. Harry and Meghan scored Netflix for their biggest documentary debut ever. We have to give credit where credit is due. Analytically, it is likely considered a success by all parties involved, even if it is a morbid curiosity that attracted the audience. In other words, even if there were hate watchers, still it had the views up there, made it a success in the eyes of Netflix. It was a huge hit for Netflix. Royal expert Shannon Felton Spence told Fox the docuseries itself was beautifully shot, told their story the way they wanted, and was one of the most watched Netflix programs of all time. Personally, they should have just released the Netflix series, even though it still had some controversial things. It wasn't that awful. I thought The Bow was in bad taste, but I seriously didn't think it was awful. I felt like it, in some ways, redeemed them from the Oprah interview. But then it didn't stop there, right? Anyhow, however, Spence did note that Harry and Meghan, which provided viewers with an intimate look at the couple's romance and controversial decision to step down from their official royal roles, may have damaged the Sussexes' images more than it helped. Approval ratings among the British public for both Harry, 38, and Meghan Markle, 41, plummeted after the docuseries debuted. In January, the couple sparked controversy again following the release of Harry's book, Spare, and last month, Spotify abruptly ended its deal. The Sussexes, following the cancellation of Meghan's podcast Archetypes after just 1 season. The issue isn't the docuseries in isolation, Spence explained. It's the series of royal family-focused content that has all but ruined, yes, the Sussexes' reputation as serious philanthropists. Awards don't mean anything, Spence added. If awards signal seriousness, Harry and Meghan wouldn't be in the spot they are at the moment. They have been given awards all over the place, and it has not done anything to enhance their image. If anything, it has exposed how meaningless these honors are. So anyhow, there's some more. Do you want me to read that? That's good enough. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? The interest in what the family thinks about Andrew would be the real hook. A nomination is not a win. That is absolutely true. I didn't watch the whole thing, but so factually wrong. Poor babies didn't get another award. Yeah, personally, the series wasn't great, but not bad. I just finished watching Shrinking with Harrison Ford. It was pretty good. I need to watch some of these things. I don't watch a lot of TV because I'm so busy with other things, but I'm getting there because there's so many great historic, I don't know, documentaries and shows. For example, I did watch The Last Kingdom. It was very bloody, but I was like, wow, Alexander Draymond. Oh my gosh, what? Oh, that was an amazing series. Okay, so anybody else have any comments regarding this? Do you think it was fair that they were not nominated for an Emmy? I am surprised. I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. I hate to say it because I feel like, you know, there's all these original and unique docuseries that are more positive in a sense, even if the content is a little intense. I'm not surprised that the Hollywood Critics Award gave them a nomination. I did think that they would be nominated for an Emmy, but I get it. I understand. I get it. So, what do you think about their future with media? Do you think they're just going to continue to spin all of this stuff? Is it true? Is it true that they're kind of, losing it? Or is that just kind of their critics' take on it? Will they be able to rebound? So let me read. Hello, Bunny. Awards have little meaning anymore. It's all about agencies pushing their clients' projects. I agree. Okay. It just went to show they had been planning it from day one. Why else film every insignificant moment? That's exactly right. That fits perfectly into the story years later. I agree. And that is why the royal family was worried and nervous about whether or not like they had wires on them. I mean, there's so many still shots and videos of people going, hey, look here under her collar, under her, we don't know if that's true. I don't know if they were wired, but I know if it was my family and I would not want to say anything. And I would tell my kids, because I have these adult kids, I say, do not say anything. And if they're within earshot, just keep your mouth shut. And you notice that their family didn't really talk to them much, whether it was the Platinum Jubilee or it was, the funeral. Like they just were not talking. They were not. And the Queen was really strict about even having an audience during the Platinum Jubilee. Okay, so I think they thought that the Netflix series was going to be the teaser and that Harry's book would be the home run. It was a swing and a miss for me. Yeah, I think it was a swing and a miss too, Lily. I think that they just thought that maybe they would have so many people sympathetic and understanding that the royal family basically stunk. And since they stunk, then they would have all these people on their side and they would be known for being so brave and speaking out. But they underestimated the support, not only in the UK, but even in the United States, with people kind of, there's a huge following for the royal family. And then number two, we do like when people work really hard and find success. And that's kind of what we were hoping for Harry and Meghan. But we also don't like it when it's basically so obviously, let's just be a sellout. Let's just sell everything out and like make our money. Like we don't like that. We like to see people making a lot of money, but with actual work and actual content, So, yeah, they definitely need to go into a different direction than Hollywood. Just do the work and be awarded without saying, watch what we're doing. Thank you so much. Shield Wall of Dragons. Just love that name. The royal staff is doing more damage to the royals than Harry can. They are the ones writing books and selling info to the media. Yeah, that's a whole other, I know we've touched upon this a few times about the royal staff, like having these leaks. But I don't know. I think that in this case, it was Harry and Meghan's PR staff. Hollywood is still fascinated with the royal family, especially with Prince William and Catherine. They know they are the true royal couple people want to see and hear about, not King Charles. Yeah, I remember, when the Queen was still around and relatively healthy, but getting older, there were so many people who were like, hey, do you think they'll just skip over Charles? And I don't know if you ever heard that and go right to William, because the fascination with William and Kate as king and queen is pretty strong. If they were living here in the UK, they'd have had the authorities on alert long ago over their kids and mental antics. Really, I'd like to hear more about that, like what that looks like and why. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Okay, see you. I'll call you Dragon. Okay, so guys, who knows what will be next? Who knows what will be next? Who knows what other announcement? I'm sure they're a little bit disappointed about the Emmy because, like I said, almost every single actor, for example, in Ted Lasso, so many people were nominated. There were very few upsets that I know of. This was considered an upset. I'm positive this was an upset to Harry and Meghan. I'm sure they would have much preferred, obviously, to have been nominated. And I think that's probably what they expected, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. They definitely got the snub, and yet they still will have an award, at least a nomination and maybe a win. There's been many times when people didn't win the Oscar, but they won some kind of Golden Globe. There were always the People's Choice Award. I do think that these TV award shows and even the Oscars, these award shows are not doing great in general. So what do they really mean? And somebody said this, like in the article, it's like, if they don't really improve your image, if they don't really help, what good are they anyhow, except for bragging rights, right? So anyhow, I'm going to go. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your support and for this. Please do subscribe. And I am planning a trip, by the way. I would love to have you guys at least spread the word. Next year, I am heading out to Germany, to Neuschwanstein Castle and Vienna in Austria. And I'm promoting this right now to get the list going of people who are going to be coming with me. So it should be really fun. Would love to meet some of you guys face to face. And anyhow, have a really great day, and we will come back with some more royal news on Hot for History.